Welcome to the second episode of the 2-Minute Timeout. This one, special edition for my fellow Penn State fans. This is the 2-Minute Timeout, episode number 2, where you take time out of your day to turn this on, and I am grateful for that. Let's just get right into it. Penn State finally saved by the bell, as they get Iowa State's head coach Matt Campbell. This video won't be as long as the first episode, won't be as long as the episode coming out tomorrow after the whole conference championship and the CFP rankings come out. But yes, Penn State, 50-plus day search is finally over. Penn State, rejoice. We got a head coach coming from a Penn State fan. That's why I'm saying we. Matt Campbell, the Iowa State head coach. He's going to get $10 million a year for 8 years. So, good hire. I'm just going to talk about the whole thing about it. It's a good hire because with all the, you didn't get Kalina Sitake from BYU, which if you saw my short, I'm not complaining about that. The only reason why he wins there is because he's got so much money from the Normans. That's why I think he's successful there. And the Normans have more money than Penn State, so I don't think he would be as successful from there. And coming from West Coast to East Coast, he wouldn't get as many transfers, and that's what Matt Campbell needs to do. We're late. There's no national signing day. The next signing day period, I think it's like Labor Day or something. You're going to have to get transfers, and you're going to have to keep transfers. I'm going to talk about the key people that Matt Campbell has to hire. Now, as a Penn State fan, and everybody could agree, this is the second best head coaching job behind LSU that was open. So would I like a flashier head coaching like Kalen DeBoer, Lincoln Riley? Yes, but DeBoer's doing great. Right now, the SEC championship is on as I'm watching this, as I'm making this. So, yes, Kalen DeBoer's in a perfect spot. Lincoln Riley, it's whatever, but he's got a good pipeline. Like, he has the number 1 overall class right now in 2026 at USC. He's hit or miss there at USC. He gets a lot of great talent. Can't really translate that to on the field. I mean, he went 9-3. That's his best record in the Big Ten. Missed the playoffs with Caleb Williams those 2 years. But I think Penn State, this was the second best, like I said, second best head coaching job. This is definitely interesting that Matt Campbell does leave Iowa State. I mean, he's had jobs from USC, NFL jobs like the Detroit Lions. I mean, he could have gone to big name places, big brand places. So definitely interesting that he did decide to come to Penn State. And it's not like he's getting like a big bang. Like, he's getting double than what he's making at Iowa State. He's making $5 million a year. He's making $10 million a year. But he seems like a down-to-earth guy. He wants to help the kids grow and compete. He's not out there for the money. And yes, Penn State is one of the best jobs out there in the Northeast and really one of the best jobs in the nation. And he does have Northeast ties. He grew up in Ohio and played football at Pitt University. So he has ties in Ohio and Pitt and Pittsburgh and just in Pennsylvania in general. And another big guy that has ties in Ohio is Terry Smith, the interim head coach. I thought they were going to get him. I was really pushing for them to get just to hire Terry Smith even as an interim for a year or two. Once they didn't seem like they were going to get Lincoln Riley or Kalen DeBoer. But Terry Smith is going to stay. You got a 4-year deal. It's like he's the head coach junior. He's going to be a mentor for Matt Campbell because you rarely see an assistant coach get a lot of money for multiple years like Terry Smith did, but they know how important it is to keep the guy. I mean, he lost at Iowa and against Indiana by 1 point. Those two teams are ranked. Indiana, number 2 team in the nation. And he was, they were leading. No, they were trailing by 3 against Ohio State on the road. Like, he's had success at Penn State, leading them to a bowl game. They did get into the Pinstripe Bowl. A lot of Penn State fans hoping that they play Pitt. That would be a good game for a bowl game. I want to see them play Pitt. I mean, Pitt fans think they're better than Penn State. And even a down year, as Penn State's having, I think they could still put some belt to Pitt. I'm hoping that they play Pitt, but that's just a different story. Matt Campbell, if you look at the record, he doesn't have as good of a record as James Franklin. So why would you hire him? He went 72-55 at Iowa State, 35-15 at Toledo, so that's good. But he is the winningest head coach at Iowa State. And here's the thing. Looking at the circumstances, that's good. Iowa State never had a 10-win season before Campbell, never finished the regular season in the AP Top 25 before Campbell, and he led them to 2 Big 12 championships. He didn't win 2 Big 12 championships, but 2 Big 12 championship appearances. Last year, if they would have beat Arizona State, they would have made the college football playoff. He had them in the COVID year with Brock Purdy. They were 6th in the nation. He's had good years. He's had good years there. He's 6-27 against top 25 teams compared to Franklin's 12-25. So that's a step up. He does have the same amount of top 10 wins as Franklin, but he's 4-6, and Franklin's 4-21. Now I know it's different because Iowa State does play in the Big 12, which in my opinion is the second worst Power 5 conference, but he still has done more with less. He's had more top 10 wins with less opportunities and has more top 25 wins with about the same opportunities as James Franklin. And also, in the recruiting part of things, Breece Hall and David Montgomery, 2 notable running backs that came out of Iowa State. Penn State, these past few years, Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, Nick Singleton, Katron Allen. Those 4 guys have been the head of Penn State in their offense, and they got to recruit running backs, and Matt Campbell's the guy to recruit running backs. Brock Purdy went to Iowa State. Yes, Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, but he's showing out in the NFL. Yes, is he a type of guy that didn't really stand out in college, but he still led Iowa State to the number 6 team in the nation. So getting quarterbacks, hopefully that can resemble to Penn State. And speaking of that, here's the big name that Penn State needs to keep. Ethan Grunkemeyer, the redshirt freshman. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore next year. They got to keep him at Penn State. They got to keep a lot of transfers that are thinking of transferring out. They do keep Terry Smith. So those people that are on the edge, yes, Terry Smith is still staying. Ethan Grunkemeyer, I don't see how and where he would go to leave, but they need to keep him here. First start at Iowa, lost by 1 point. Scored 14 points in the first half at Ohio State in his second start, and then lost by 1 point at home against Indiana. 2 ranked teams. Indiana's the number 2 team in the nation. Ethan Grunkemeyer is doing something well, and I think we're going to see it in the Pinstripe Bowl, and it will probably be against a decent ACC team like Duke, Pitt, and many people are saying that it will be Pitt, and I think it'll be Pitt, but that's, like I said, that's a different conversation. Now, there's more NIL money. Matt Campbell had to recruit 2 and 3 stars. He was the little bro in Iowa because Iowa, when Matt Campbell was there, that was the peak of Iowa football. But he was beating Iowa with less recruits and less NIL money. Now that he has more NIL money, like significantly more NIL money, what can he do with more? With 4 and 5 star recruits. It's either going to go really good or really bad. There's no middle ground. And you can't have middle ground at Penn State. The middle ground got James Franklin fired. Going 10-2 and losing to Ohio State and Michigan every year got James Franklin fired. You can't do that. You have to be really good. And I see that. I think they can be really good. Looking at their schedule, their toughest games, like I said in my short, if you check that out, at Michigan. That's probably going to be a loss because you only had 2 recruits on National Signing Day, and you're going to have to live off the transfer portal. And playing in the big house against a very good Michigan team, okay, that's going to be a loss. Then USC later on, their last 3 games, USC at home, Wisconsin at home, who are supposedly getting more NIL donors. Maybe they're good. And then at Washington. I see them going 9-3, but if they are 10-2 with a big win, either likely at home against USC or at Wisconsin or at Washington, they could be in the playoff mix. And that's in his first year without many recruits coming in. He's going to have to live heavily off of the transfer portal, and the recruits that he gets in are going to be 2 and 3 stars. But he's developed them. So it's going to be like Iowa State in the first year, living heavily off the transfer portal and not good recruits. But if you can have a 9-3, 10-2 stable record where you finish in the top 20, maybe top 15, and in the conversations for the CFP, then yes, that's a good foundation in your first year. And thankfully, I looked at the schedule next year and the year after. They don't play Ohio State. They don't have many tough games where they could be in this college football playoff conversation these next 2 years. And Matt Campbell, that's what you need at such a high-level college program like Penn State. Now, piggybacking off of that, if you do get a good foundation, I mean, get the good recruits. If you get a good foundation, you're going to get good recruits, especially with more NIL money. Like I said, no middle ground with him. Either really good or really bad. I think it'll start out really good. Now, if we look, their first 5 weeks, it's Marshall at home to start things off, then at Temple, then against Buffalo, then at Maryland. Maryland's like Wisconsin. They're supposed to be getting better NIL money, and that's your first Power 5 schedule game, and it's on the road. They could struggle. I see them pulling that out, but it's going to be a struggle. Then the week after at Michigan, those first 2 Big Ten games are going to be a struggle. Then you have a bunch of easy games at home, like Rutgers, Purdue, Minnesota, and then the final 3 games, those are definitely going to be the toughest ones. I'm going to break down Penn State's schedule later on the offseason, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to be breaking down a bunch of teams' schedules. And, of course, me being a Penn State fan, I'm going to break down their schedule. Now, like I said, you got to keep Ethan Grunkemeyer. He's the heart and soul of this team. And Campbell, he did keep Terry Smith. So the people that wanted Terry Smith as a head coach, yes, he's not a head coach, but he's going to be a mentor to the new head coach. So hopefully that keeps people that were on the fence about should I transfer or not, seeing that Matt Campbell's developed lesser good stars. That's not the right grammar, but he's developed 2 and 3 stars. If you're a 4 or 5 star, if he's developed 2 and 3 stars, hopefully you're staying with Terry Smith and a guy that can develop you very well at Matt Campbell. Now, Smith did get a 4-year deal. He had options to leave against UConn and Memphis, but stays there. Smith keeping ties in Ohio and Philadelphia, which he can recruit really well. And like I said, Campbell got ties in the Northeast and in the Midwest because he coached at Iowa State, grew up in Ohio, went to Pitt, so he's got ties up there. Campbell is looking to bring on his defensive coordinator, John Hancock. That means Jim Knowles is probably gone because if he's bringing over John, he's not bringing him over to be assistant defensive coordinator. He's going to bring him over to be a defensive coordinator. Jim Knowles, me personally, I know like it's supposed to take lots of years for Jim Knowles' defense to understand. But you only have 4 years with these kids at maximum, 4 or 5 years. You can't have a defense that takes multiple years to learn. So here's the games that the defense had a chance to win the game. Oregon, Indiana, Northwestern, UCLA. Defense is on the field to either win the game or get a stop so the offense has a chance to win the game, and they couldn't. That's 4 games right there. If they win at least 3 of those 4 games, they're in the college football playoff race, beating UCLA, beating Northwestern, and then if they win either Oregon or Indiana, you're in the college football playoff at, 10-2. But they couldn't get the stops. That's why James Franklin did get fired, but also that's why Jim Knowles is probably going to have to get let go. Also, wonder where he goes. He was the highest paid defensive coordinator this year and highest paid defensive coordinator in college football history, but I wonder where he does go. And it's not confirmed that the defensive coordinator from the Cyclones is coming over. Iowa State's had bumps in the roads with their defense, so I would like to see them keep Jim Knowles and maybe make them both split it at defensive coordinator, both assistant defensive coordinators. But who knows? I think Jim Knowles needs another guy there to help him, and because it takes so long for his system to get ingraded, I think they need another guy to just look over his shoulder to make sure and learn the system, but make it a little bit more simpler. Those are my thoughts. Like I said, this is a quick episode. Tomorrow coming out after we see what the conference championships going on. BYU did not win the Big 12 like I suspected. Tulane won, which I did not suspect either. I suspected BYU and North Texas to win, but they didn't. So Tulane's in, BYU's out. Texas Tech was already in. But now it's just Notre Dame fans. Is it Notre Dame versus Miami? But if Alabama does lose, if Alabama loses, that means that Wait. No. Excuse me. Since BYU won, that means either Notre Dame, Alabama's automatically in. It's either head-to-head against Notre Dame or Miami. In the first episode, I shared my thoughts. I'm going to share my thoughts again, see what the CFP committee says. Hopefully, I don't care who gets in. I'm just hoping for a good team. Really, I think that Notre Dame is the better team. I mean, they got good players like Jeremiah Smith. Would you rather have Jeremiah Smith, or would you rather have Carson Beck go on the road against Texas A&M? I want to see a rematch of Notre Dame, Texas A&M, but I'll share my thoughts. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I'll see you next time.